Okay. Is when I'm playing it, is the audio gonna go into the it shouldn't, right?
No,
The audio from the video?
no, it shouldn't.
Okay.
All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome. We're live here. As you can tell, it's Seriously Loco. We're gonna do a live rewatch. This should be fun. It's Phil Baki, joined by Christian Canales. Christian, um, kind of weird being remote again. Feels like back to the roots a little bit.
Yeah, I was kind of late to logging on because I was figuring out how to set up all my stuff over here. I hadn't pulled it out of the box since like this time last year, probably.
Yeah. No, it's been a little strange, but we're gonna have fun with this. I think make the most of it. And Yeah, so we're gonna be rewatching the match Locomotive against Sacramento Republic from May 18th.
V1, V1,
Yeah.
version
Uh,
1.
what's that?
Version 1.
Yeah, yeah. Was the first ever matchup against Sac Republic, and so how we're gonna do this is we've got the YouTube queued up. Christian, you've got yours queued up. Do you have yours queued up, Christian?
Yes.
All right, cool. Um, so how we're gonna do this? I guess I'm gonna do it like this. All right. So we've got it queued up for 6 minutes 40 seconds, and from there we're gonna come on now. Sorry, trying to get all this set up. I've got the chat open for anyone who wants to chime in at any point during this. I'm gonna make sure the link is shared out as well. But the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna queue up the video for 6 minutes and 40 seconds, and we're gonna watch from there. And I think let me just get the link out and then once more just to make sure that anybody who wants to join in and then we'll watch it back. From there, we'll talk pre-match, and we'll look at the lineups. I mean, there's a lot of like kind of cool aspects to this, I guess, because this is a little bit of a flashback in time, not just to last season and being able to watch a competitive game again, but to a time of a different roster and a whole different like feel around Locomotive.
Yeah, I'm going into this with fresh eyes because it was so long ago. I barely remember what happened. So, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be just as surprised as the first time, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and cue the video to 6 minutes 40 seconds on the YouTube clip, and then I'll give shouts throughout the match for anybody joining in. I'll give shouts of what time in the match it is, as well as the YouTube timestamp, so you guys can catch up with us if you jump in late or whatever. Um, so yeah, we're at 6 minutes 40 seconds. Christian, I guess on my mark, we'll hit play. We'll do it on I guess I don't know. We'll do it on your mark. Get set. Go. So yeah, we've got the little USL intro. And a nice eighth notch march at the beginning of the video. Always love to see that.
What I would give for even the terrible USL commentators again. I mean, we have Duke in this one, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
No, that's
just
I
to
mean,
watch a game at all.
yeah. No, I know. Duke is really a godsend, as we've spoken about in the past. But prior to this one, taking the look back into Locomotive history, May was kind of right at the beginning of a turning point for Locomotive. Jerome Kiesewetter, obviously he was the focal point as they show his stats here. He had the brace against Colorado Springs and the brace against New Mexico, which, kind of eventually led to his nickname via Mika Burrell, the orthodontist.
Yeah. And it stuck till the end of the year.
Yeah. And we get a nice view too
thing.
of his goals against New Mexico. Always nice to see those, although unfortunately held to a draw in that one. Couple of nice finishes from Jerome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how things progressed. Like, he was supposed to be the guy, and he was for a brief amount of time, and then, he got hurt and never really completely, at least never was really giving it his all, as we hypothesize now, since he probably had his contract lined up.
Right. Yeah, it did. It did certainly change things a little bit. And this for Sac Republic was also a kind of a different time in their roster as well. They were kind of struggling at this point of the season. They hadn't picked up any Voltson yet, and they had some issues defensively, I think, primarily coming into this one. So it's very interesting to look back and see kind of the difference these squads had at this point in the season versus, by the time they ended up in the Western Conference semifinals together.
Yeah, and I think I forget if I'm looking at the records, I'm forgetting if they do win, loss, or draw and draw and loss, but I'm thinking we were probably around the same part of the table too at this point in the season as well.
Yeah, based on how we had gone, I want to say it's win, loss, draw, because I know we had pretty much at this point drawn every game on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say that our two losses up to this point would have been the opening day against OKC and then Phoenix. Yeah. So basically,
okay.
we had, I think we had just lost the two games at that point. And we had drawn a bunch of our games on the road. So, man, I'm just realizing that is a big old linesman. I don't know if you see the red. That's a big boy.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't know if we were gonna go there, but yeah,
that's a big boy.
Very rotund.
We get a view of Eighth Notch, few fan favorites in there, and then Logan as the pre-match festivities are kind of coming to an end. National anthem over, team finishing up the warm-ups, and they're getting the fireworks prepped out there in in center field, I guess. The pre-match is something that evolved with the team too. It seems like obviously they always had a lot of fanfare and the train horn and all that stuff, but it got a lot better towards the end of the season in terms of intensity, I feel like.
Yeah, and I mean, I think everyone was just a lot more invested in the team as time went on, and so even just the crowds themselves kind of contributed a lot to it, I think.
Yeah. We get a look at Sac Republic's lineup, and as you can tell, there's only a handful of names in there that were still around, it seems, or in and around the first team by the end of the season. But Sam Werner, obviously big player for them, and then Cam Iwasa is kind of the standard bearer for them, I guess. He's been with the team now like 5 years or something like that. And this Locomotive's lineup, Logan, James Kiffey, Chiro, Mishak, Brian Rebellon, Richie Ryan, and Calvin Resend in midfield, Seb Contreras in the 10, Partida and Omar out wide, and Kiesewetter up top. It looks so weird now seeing a lineup like that.
What stands out to me is that the season that I think that's the best 11 on the roster, you know?
Yeah,
We have a full bench, so I think this was kind of that peak of the season, you know, where everyone was healthy. Mark could choose, you know, the best players that we had, and
right.
I think that's why we were doing so well at this point, or at least why we started doing so well.
Yeah, it is. Obviously interesting to see Calvin in there because eventually he was dealt, unfortunately. Um, and then Seb Contreras obviously headed out to Omaha this season, but we're underway. And first thing, Mishak going long over the top. That's, I mean, we know that Mishak's going to do that. I mean, whenever this season gets started again, we know Mishak loves a long ball out from the back.
And he had some success. There's at least one. We got at least got one goal out of those that I can remember. I don't remember what game it happened in, but
Yeah. So we were rocking the light blues, and it seemed like for a while like these were pretty we had pretty good fortune in these kits for a decent stretch, and it seemed like the team was kind of trying to ride that wave of almost like baseball style superstition.
yeah.
Sac
So
Republic wearing the gray hoops, but
that infield turf looks rough, man.
yeah.
I don't remember it looking like that at the end of the season. I think they figured something out because that infield turf looks rough.
No, that's true. I think a lot of the I think the turf definitely improved. And I think as the weather got warmer and warmer, I think they had a harder and harder time getting the sod um to look good. They were definitely, I think they were struggling just with, I don't know if it was like a lack of rain or what. Sac Republic had the oof, not the most convincing defense from the corner
No.
there. Not the best we've ever done from defending from a corner, but it does seem like the grounds crew kind of, like, it started strong, and then as the summer got hotter, it seemed like they struggled more with it, and obviously more baseball games I think affected it as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that was a chance I think for Sac Republic. They didn't actually come away with anything, but it's definitely, I guess this was a point in the season where we were kind of vulnerable from set pieces as well. Omar taking people on because we know that's what he does.
Oof.
Yeah, early chance. Resend with the ball in too.
Oh, can you imagine? That would have been a hell of a goal.
Yeah.
They would still be playing that highlight if that went.
It's a nice volley for sure. Just gets under it a little bit, but I mean that's exactly the type of goal we got used to seeing Jerome score. Not, specifically with the volley or anything like that, but just reacting first time to a cross. Like, that was his preferred method of finding the back of the net.
Definitely.
Chiro doing well on the outside there to keep um, Sac Republic from getting around the outside, but pretty open start for as much as we always had kind of a, I don't know, like a measured style. This is pretty back and forth, pretty up and down.
Yeah, definitely. It was exciting to watch. I think at this point, kind of fresh off the New Mexico game, I was still a little cautious anytime we had a back pass to Logan.
Oh, absolutely. My bad. I'm trying to monitor the chat, but either way, Edson, another one. I mean, he's back. He's back at Toluca, but I haven't really heard much. I don't know. You obviously follow Liga MX a little closer than I do, but I mean, is he playing at all for them down there? Do you
I
know?
mean, he's not on their first team.
Okay.
I can tell you that much. I think last time I looked, closer to the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
he was on the roster for the second team, but I don't think he was playing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're across just past the 4 minute, 4.5 minute mark, approaching 5 minutes now in the game. Still 0-0, and we know there's a lot to come in this one. But it's interesting watching these games back without the. And I know we experience this throughout the season because there are a lot of times where we'll want to watch a game back, as that was well done by Omar tracking back on the down that right flank. We know Omar put in a lot of work up and down, helping cover for Brahim because we know he's so attacking. But it seems like we had a totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, you can rewatch these games kind of without the stress of nice little move from Seb Contreras, without the stress of worrying about the result. You know what's going to happen already in terms of the end result, so you can watch it through a little less like bias or tainted eyes. I feel like you can better kind of get a feel for how the match actually went when you're not caught up in the emotion of the actual game.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, it helps that I can look at it a lot more because if I'm trying to look at it from like a more like tactical or analytical perspective, I need to be like 100% focused because I don't, that's still not second nature to me. So
Right.
not having to worry, like you said, about the win or the loss is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it very difficult to to actually like analyze a game when I'm caught up in the result. I think it's easy when you're a neutral fan watching a game that you're not invested in. But me watching Locomotive, I'm terrible at being able to try to remove the emotion from watching it because you're so invested
Heavy
in
pressure.
the result. Yeah, yeah, a lot of early pressure, and I mean coming from Seb Contreras too. This is at a point in the season. Seb Contreras, we were raving about him pretty much every episode at this point. Just one of those things where it never fully came together. Like he had a lot of good performances for us, but he couldn't provide the goals that Mark was looking for, unfortunately.
I mean, it, it's just really unfortunate how Velasquez came in and it was. I don't even think that. I think at that point, Mark's mind was already made up.
Right.
Um, that it was time to move on from Contreras.
Whenever things do get started up again, I'm really interested to see how Seb does out in Omaha with League One, because I think he could potentially be one of the best players in that league. I think maybe taking the step down, he'll be able to take a little more, maybe a few more risks, and maybe he'll prove his kind of goal scoring medal down there and get a move back up. I'm sure that's what he's hoping for, but that was kind of a dangerous situation in Kamawasa with the ball on the edge of the box, which you don't love to see as a Locomotive
No,
fan.
not at
But that was and that was well done. Again, just the whole team kind of tracking back, but it came initially from a long clearance kind of through the middle of the field, and we've seen in the past Logan kind of get into trouble with those kind of balls. It seems like he's he's definitely improved his distribution in that area from this point last season. It seems he's doesn't really give the ball away that much, and especially, I mean, Orange County, he really give the ball away at all. So he's definitely grown in that facet of his game, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm curious what'll happen, something that maybe we'll talk about, when we record again, but like what contracts are like.
Yeah.
Like if this season doesn't come back, if we don't start again until next year for whatever reason.
Right.
are we gonna have Logan again, or I'm just curious about how all
Yeah,
that works.
Omar doing some dancing in the
There's the
box.
first one.
Yep, and Resend in, and that was, oh man. They
The
focus on,
slowest goal in
yeah,
history.
they focused on Kiesewetter, but it was definitely Calvin's goal. And this was at a time too. Calvin was one of our most important goal scorers during this period. It felt like, because he was scoring goal. He scored a goal in Tacoma, scored this goal to open the scoring, and it felt like he was always popping up with goals when we needed it. Just trickled into the inside that
Yeah.
far post. But yeah, Calvin, I really feel for the guy, because obviously we were happy because he had been on the show and everything, or I think we had him on the show maybe after this game.
Maybe.
But the his story, it does seem like, and obviously, the manager knows best, as Sac Republic goes straight down the other end and get a corner. That was a dangerous situation as well. I think a foul got given in the end, but or maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, the thing that is a little unfortunate about Calvin is it seemed like he did kind of take his opportunities to play well when he did get chances to play, and it still couldn't convince Mark of the need to keep him. And I think he was kind of a victim of our injury crisis more than anything.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's a circumstances if we weren't down three defenders that Mark would have let him go. I couldn't imagine that Mark wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It was more out of necessity than anything.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And then, I mean, he goes to Tulsa, and he played pretty well when he came back to El Paso, and that was Noche de Locos, actually, I think, when we played Roughnecks, or the artist formerly known as Roughnecks. And he played pretty well, if I remember correctly, but he played kind of a deeper position, it seemed like. Kind of more, he's listed as a central midfielder in this system, but he's definitely tends to be more attacking, obviously, especially next to a guy like Richie.
Oof.
That was a nice little back heel. Little collision between Mishak and Logan as well, but man, that back heel was dangerous.
Slick.
Nearly found
Yeah.
its way into the path of I don't know who that was coming off the edge. 29. I'm not sure, actually.
Trying to
See,
see if I can. I was gonna game can have some reference.
yeah. um, but yeah, this was man, this is it is. I do think Calvin was more unfortunate than anything, just due to our roster at that point. And played pretty well when he got the chances, but now Tulsa, they went out and they spent a bunch of money on new guys, and I don't think they retained Calvin, so I think he's actually a free agent right now.
Yikes.
A smart club out there will go snatch him up, though. I think it's just rare that you see a guy in good ball through. It's kind of rare that you see a guy in really good form who doesn't keep his spot, I guess. It's not like he was playing poorly, and you don't often see guys moved on when they're kind of at the height of what they got going on. But Sac Republic was still, I think pretty much every game that we played Sac Republic, the if you add the score together of all 3 games, it looks like we just absolutely destroyed them, because I think we shut them out twice, and we only allowed the 1 goal in this game, so it makes it look so lopsided. But I feel like we were, there were a lot of situations where, like that one, that corner that corner in,
Yikes.
we had to deal with another one. I feel like there's a lot of situations where we got kind of lucky against Sac, that they didn't convert more chances.
Oh, definitely. Like even in I can't remember. I think it was the away leg of the regular season when
Yeah.
I can't remember one of their players. It was their opportunity to really put the game away, and he like missed from like 6 feet out, and he absolutely shanked it.
Yeah. And then Gomez
Gosh, I
goes
wish
the other way and
yeah,
scores the winner.
yeah, we definitely got lucky several times.
Yeah. That was probably the one match where it felt like we kind of got away with it, if you will. Like we didn't play, we didn't, cuz it's funny, the scoreless draw in Reno, I think, towards the end of the regular season, I think we played them to a 0-0. And that game, I actually thought we deserved something out of. I think we played, and they were obviously, they ended up second in the table, I think. Or were they third? No, I think it was Reno and then
They were
Fresno, right?
second.
So, I think we actually deserved more from that game, and we didn't get a goal, but we went to Sacramento and we didn't play particularly well, but we took the one chance that we had, or one of the few chances we had. And I think you can't look at there's not many games across last season where we score without having like a bunch of chances to score.
Yeah.
I feel like we weren't normally that team that that took the one chance that we had. Kiffy out there on the left. We haven't seen him on the ball much in this game up to this point, as we're into the 18th minute now, but yeah, like 17, like 15 on the clock.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen much of our attack going down the left hand side. But so much of last season, obviously, Kiffy ends the season with 7 assists. So much of our attack did go down that side, over the breadth of the season. And I think that's led to some of the hesitation or nervousness about the idea of Foxy being out there, just because we got so comfortable watching Kiffy out there.
Yeah, and I think what'll happen, or what would have happened, is I just think the offense would look completely different. I think that we'd be probably going down the middle of the field way more, since so much of our attack is in the middle now, I think.
Right. Yeah, the 1-0 lead, at least for now. This kind of fit with a lot of how we played last season, where when we did go ahead, it seemed like we kind of dropped off a little bit and tried to defend the 1-0. It seemed like we didn't really press and go for that second goal, or teams, I guess, tried to press us more intensely, and we weren't having as much possession, because we haven't really created a chance since the goal, and it's been like almost 10 minutes.
I would have been terrified if I was Tantor right there, watching Richie come up to him. I saw the fear in his eyes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I think it is, I don't think you can underestimate the fact that Richie is, a presence out there on the field for us. And I like to think he has an impact. Not just, I think he obviously has an impact on our guys and making sure that we're set up right and all of that. But I think he also has an impact on on the opposition and the referee.
Yeah, definitely.
For better or worse, I think sometimes maybe his aggression towards the refs, maybe they feel like they shouldn't give him calls because it maybe they would feel like they're being intimidated into it.
Yeah.
That was I think a little case of gamesmanship from Sacramento trying to get the free kick out of Chiro there down the middle away from the ball. Yeah, it's interesting to watch too. Resend is kind of he's the one that is keying the rest of the team to press.
Yeah. He was way up the field that time.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch because it's not like often Contreras is essentially playing as the 10, but without the ball, Contreras is deeper than Calvin as Contreras gets drilled with the clearance there from Mishak. Yikes.
That left a bruise.
Yeah. That was a decent turn from Werner, but he actually, or no, who is, yeah, I think it's Werner in there.
Hey, that's Werner.
Yeah, and he turned himself out of his out of his shoes. He fooled everybody, including himself.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep a hold of it. And yeah, I mean, up to this point, it had been Sac Republic's chances had pretty much come from set pieces. Like they hadn't really created a whole lot from open play in terms of decent. I don't know if they generated a shot from open play yet, or a shot on target.
No, I don't think so. But those corners are killing us, though.
Yeah, and I think we ran into that a little bit in the playoff game as well, where we were most vulnerable, against them from set pieces, and I think Werner was just. I think by that time he was the one primarily taking the corners, and he seemed to always put them into a dangerous area. Which I think at this level, in USL, we know that it's pretty valuable to be dangerous on set pieces because a lot of times it ends up coming down to somebody losing a marker, and I mean shit, our season ended on a set piece,
Yeah.
so we know how valuable it can be, and we know last season it was something that we didn't exploit that much against other teams. I think we got a little bit better about it as the season progressed, but I think it's certainly something that we want to be a little bit more dangerous from those situations now, because we were definitely more vulnerable to set pieces than we were dangerous on ours.
Yeah, I think we had maybe one goal from a set piece all season.
I think
Maybe two.
I think we had
I don't.
I think we had one in the I think we had one in the playoff game. I know there was one. It wasn't or it wasn't what we expected. But I think Chiro's goal against gosh, who was that? He scored with his right foot, like drilled the shot in. I think it came like not direct from a corner, but as part of kind of from a corner. Like ball was put in the box, it kind of headed down, and he drilled it back in. Well, I can't remember who that was. That no, I can't remember who that was against now.
I'm not sure. And even the one in the playoffs from Velasquez, um I don't know if I would count that because it was from a corner, but like it was a short corner, and then he dribbled it around for about 10 seconds.
Oh
So I
yeah,
don't know if that counts.
Yeah, I think that was actually Timbers too at the end of last season. Um,
Oh, okay. I thought it was in the playoff game.
I think that was the opener against Timbers too, because it was like the 4th minute or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it
okay.
was a short corner, and it definitely wasn't a traditional set piece. When you beat like half the team on the dribble, like you're not. I don't know if you can really count that. Whoever put the corner in, it's one of the easiest assists they'll ever get in their life. Faces on the bench. Ones for the scrapbook. Derek Gebhardt and Daniel Navarro, I think, on the bench for this one.
Daniel Navarro.
Yeah.
Just doing some quick research here. That Chiro goal was in the Fresno game at
Oh,
home.
okay. That was a good game at home. I feel like because we had not played well against them on the road. Obviously, it was probably one of the worst games of the season. Um, like 3-0 loss. So to bounce back with a win against it, because we did win that game, right? At
Yeah,
home.
2-1.
Yeah. So that was definitely a good win, and it felt like it gave us some momentum. Beating a team towards the top of the table, you always want to kind of use that, I guess, to your advantage. And it seems like kind of throughout the season we had, obviously we were riding these peaks and valleys, and luckily the valley came the two valleys came at the beginning of the season and in the middle of the season. And other teams, started really hot, and then their valley came at the end, or decent ball in. That was well defended by Mishak, and then thought he could have given a foul there on the edge of the box, but just USL refs.
Mishak not happy.
No, really not.
Oof.
Nearly that was a nearly moment there. Jerome chasing it down. As the half kind of wears on, it seems like this is kind of how things often went with Jerome up top, where we just kind of struggled to get him involved in the game. It seemed like a lot of times he was kind of isolated up there, and we haven't really, since that early chance that he had. I think he's barely had a touch, and we always used to talk about the fact that he wasn't getting on the ball at all in those games where it felt like, oh, he's kind of in and out of it.
Yeah.
Some the ref trying to do some housekeeping in the box. Pretty easy.
Sacramento getting the body on it first, though. I think we're struggling to
Yeah.
get in position.
Yeah, it seemed like they're definitely winning the first ball most of the time. A little lucky with the deflection off of Mishak's back there, but definitely seems like we're, especially from set pieces, we're not really, we hadn't really been convincing about clearing the ball out
Mm-hmm.
first time or anything. What we saw in the first game, we saw Foxy kind of, it seemed like he not emulated Kiffy's penchant for shithousery, but definitely got a little bit more of an edge to his game, it seems. Do you think he's trying to master the dark arts, I guess, in a way.
Well, someone has to do it. I mean, I don't know enough about the new guys.
Right. Yeah, it seems. I mean, for the most part, it seems like our new guys are, you know, more of a. We definitely added, skill. I think. So it seems like the edge might have to come from elsewhere, but who knows? Fabrice may have learned a thing or two in the in Portugal. So who knows when once we get to see him. Richie doing what he does back there, stopping that initial entry pass into midfield when it looked like we might be vulnerable on the counter. He just steps into the passing lane like it's nothing. Edson with a chance too,
Oh,
just lost his footing. It's unfortunate. Did really well to bring that down.
this is also in the era and scoring all of our goals.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an issue too. I mean, we went through, and maybe it's something that I think it's something that Mark is obviously looking to try to rectify with the fact that he's brought in guys who can score. It's another dangerous opportunity again. This time well defended by Chiro, but it does seem like we want to spread the goal scoring around, because it seems like last season there were just these stretches where one player was scoring. It was different guys at each stretch, but it was primarily one person doing the goal scoring, instead of more of a I guess they're trying to spread the wealth now, hopefully, in this year's edition.
Oh man.
Yeah. Looked good on the counter, but couldn't quite pull it off, and early ball into the box, luckily
Yeah, I
for
mean,
Sac Republic, not too good.
looking at this year's roster, there's probably about 5 or 6 guys that can have, 8 or 9 goals.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's hoping that we can, well, first things first, I guess, like here's hoping we have a season.
Yeah.
But no, I do think the roster is definitely there's no kind of guy who has to be the focal point necessarily. Whereas, we were definitely looking, especially at this point in the season, everybody was looking at Jerome like, all right, you're you're the guy, go score.
Yeah.
You can tell he's definitely, he's trying to, every clearance, everything, he's chasing it down, trying to get on the end of it. It's not quite reaching him at the moment in this one, but good header away by Mishak on that occasion from the cross in. And they're just hitting those early crosses into the box, just trying to get someone on the end of it. Hadn't really come off for them at any point, but at the same time, it's kind of a cheap way to earn corners as well, which is what they've obviously been dangerous from. So you could definitely see what Sac Republic was trying to do, and it not the worst strategy, especially on the road.
I can't remember when their goal comes.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. There's some claims for handball in there. Mahoney. I think we put him on the Shithouse 11 if I remember correctly.
Well, for being a jackass to his own team,
Yeah.
he's the one that caused the
The Gomez goal.
that helped Gomez goal get put in.
Yeah, it was not a traditional nomination, I guess.
Oh, this is it.
Yeah, this has got to be.
Terrible defense.
Yeah, that was bad. The ball over the top was really simple, and they got completely caught out by it. Was it Skundrich?
He could have fired it in if he wanted to, I think. He had so much space.
Yeah.
Ah, the hydration breaks.
Ah, yes. Eighth Notch's favorite time of the game, the hydration break. It's interesting because the whole Sacramento team went over to get water, but Locomotive was like ready to kick off and didn't actually go to the sideline to get any water. So I don't know if it was an actual hydration break. Poor giveaway from Brian, unfortunately. Or Brian, should say. Yeah, Drew Skundrich, the scorer of that one. Won't score many easier goals in his life. Just kind of powered it in from short range. Chiro stepping out confidently. Another one, up until this point, we've only seen Omar really able to get on the ball. Like, it was early on, he had a decent dribble. But yeah, most of the first half we were actually kind of struggling to get our attackers involved, it seemed like.
I think that was most of the first half of the season, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Yeah, in possession we haven't really done much up to this point. And it's so interesting watching this from with the knowledge that we go on to win this game fairly comfortably. But from here, it didn't look too good in terms of us actually coming away with a win. It seemed like we would kind of have to weather the storm against Sac Republic, but I guess it shows too just how quickly things can change. One little tweak here or there can completely change a game.
Yeah, definitely. And
decent ball over the top from Seb there. Didn't quite work out, but
I'm looking 3 days prior to this game was when we lost 3-0 to Forward Madison. So I think as fans, giving up the lead so quickly, back at this point, we were already kind of biting our fingernails and wondering if the other shoe's going to fall soon.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. Absolutely. Because it was... Yeah, gosh, I said the Fresno away game was probably our worst of the season, but that Forward Madison game in the Open Cup was brutal. But it's interesting because similar to the way that Sac Republic kind of grew into the game after we scored, immediately following Sacramento's goal, like they dropped off, and we're now having much more of the ball and getting into attacking areas.
Mm-hmm.
Just that back and forth, I guess. Sacramento not able to maintain the pressure that they had when they trailed. it's always good to, obviously Locomotive pushing for a goal late in the first half, because you always want to take that advantage into the break, but still 1-1 in this case, and approaching the 40th minute, or in the 40th minute, but approaching the 40-minute mark, as Omar nearly got on the end of that cross in from Edson. Omar, obviously, a lot has been said about the fact that, he came in he took the number 9 shirt and everybody looked to him as this, target man, center forward. We know that that's not true, but it is so interesting, especially in this was kind of early in his employment, I feel like, as that wide attacker.
Oof. What a save.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's from Kamiwasa as well. And it's such a big save too, because to go in, as we said, you want to bring a lead into halftime, but you also don't want to trail. And how big a goal is that, in hindsight, looking at how this game turns out. If they go up 2-1 right before halftime, I mean, that could spell just absolute disaster for Locomotive. No, it wasn't Iwasa. It was
it's Bonomo.
Yeah, Bonomo. And well, Ketterer and big saves at the swap against Sac Republic. Name a more iconic duo. He always seems to come up with something big against them, and
yeah.
Gosh, that was a huge save. The broadcast rightly focusing on Logan back there. Contreras wanted to take the free kick quickly, and the ref wouldn't let him. Maybe Southwest University Park and poor refereeing decisions is the more iconic duo.
That's true.
Or us being frustrated with the referees in one way or another.
Yeah, home or away.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is funny because, I mean, we spoke about it last season, but it seemed like we would go on the road and we're like, well, this is hometown. They're getting like the hometown bias or whatever. They're swayed by the crowd or whatever. And then they would come to Southwest University Park and they'd be like, oh, well, they don't want to seem like they're swayed by the crowd. So it just seemed like we were always getting the short end of the stick. I know there's probably a couple of matches where I look back and think like we got the rub of the green in terms of refereeing decisions. But I think maybe 2, like maybe 2 matches the whole season. Like it definitely was not a common thing to be like, oh my God, they're not completely screwing us.
I mean, I'm sure they happened. I can't tell you what they are off the top of my head, but I'm sure they happened.
Yeah. As Sac Republic got a free kick here late. Just a couple of minutes left in the first half, and well done by Mishak to read that one. Would have been easy to kind of try to anticipate a deflection off Chiro, and Chiro didn't quite get there. Seb Contreras was tracking that all over the place. He was absolutely like flying everywhere, and off the post. Narrowly avoiding some potential problems there. Man, Sac Republic putting us under quite a lot of pressure here at the end
Yeah,
of the
these are
half.
good crosses.
Yeah, that's very nearly a big problem for us. The post came up big that time. I don't think Logan actually got to it if I saw correctly. He might have had it covered if it was going inside the post, but definitely thanking the woodwork on that one. And yeah, just the one added minute at the end of this one. I mean, Christian, first thoughts on the first half.
I mean, I think it was typical in that, we started out really strong and then we drop off for quite a bit and then we have a little bit of a late resurgence. Uh, and it's just a matter of whether or not we end up scoring, in that hot streak that we usually get in the first 15 minutes or so.
Right.
That was kind of the story of our season, at least the first part of the season.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like this was kind of our prototypical first half. Logan couldn't quite make the decision to come out there. Luckily, Bonomo couldn't get on the end of it, but yeah, it seemed kind of like what we'd expect, I guess. Where we did come out strong, and that is halftime. So we'll go ahead. I guess we'll go ahead and skip ahead to the start of the second half. Just got to find where it begins. But yeah, I mean, the first half stats, it was, Sacramento with a lot more shots, 8-4, and 3 shots on target. So, and the only shot on target for us went in. So we could feel pretty lucky about how how that first half proceeded and to go in 1-1.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Logan's earning his money this game for sure.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a change at halftime. But I'm going to find the timestamp so everybody can follow along. So, yeah, and that the halftime change is actually Chapa comes on, and I think it might be for Calvin, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is strange. That makes you something that I'm sure we questioned at the time, and I'm still questioning now.
Yeah.
That why are you taking off your goal scorer at halftime?
Right. And I think it was an interesting move, and definitely one where we're like, WTF, but I guess we'll see as things do get underway. I think 1:14:15 is going to be the start of the second half. If you're So
Give
we'll
me
go to
just a second.
Yep. We'll go to 1:14:15, and then let me know when you're there, and we'll do our little countdown again.
Okay, yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. On your mark, get set, go. So yeah, second half underway, and I think, as we were saying, the Chapa change definitely, especially on the back of how he played against Forward Madison, which I always talk about, was like just not good. Like he was pretty poor. And one of the games where I was like, well, maybe we're just figuring out that, like, he's a feel good story, but he's not, necessarily cut out for this level type thing. This 45 was actually such a game changer, I think, in terms of how people viewed Chapa. Not obviously he doesn't, have an impact like Calvin in terms of scoring goals. But the game certainly changes once he's introduced, and he does a really good job. As that cross just about dealt with at the back post, but definitely changed my opinion of Chapa, because we hadn't had a chance to see much of him up to this point, and what we did see was less than positive. And basically from here on out, it seemed like every single game that he got, whether it was off the bench or starting, he got better.
Yeah, definitely another guy that really took advantage of the opportunities when they came along.
Yeah. But Sacramento putting us under early pressure once again. The corner came in. That one definitely not the quality of delivery that we that we had in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get thick linesman. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for this guy
Thick linesman.
with two C's. I can only, I don't know why, but I'm thinking of that meme of the frog on the unicycle or whatever. Here come that boy.
Yeah.
um, God, whenever players dribble around the pitcher's mound, I always get so nervous. Really nice move though here
Yeah,
from Locomotive
who
getting down the
knows what
left.
the hell that ball is gonna do.
Yeah. Now Rebillon down off the ball. I don't know. I don't know how many passes are going to end up in this move, but that was I'm sure something that like or one of the passing moves that Mark looks at is like this is how we should be playing.
Hmm.
Because they play out from the back, and then as soon as there's an opportunity to try to get forward, they broke forward really well. And I think, if he could design something in training to say like this is how we play, that essentially would be would be the clip where he's like this is what we want to do. Just being able to change that kind of deliberate passing around the defenders into and then quickly like snap forward and like change the tempo.
Hmm.
Something that at times we kind of struggled with, but Chapa with a few nice little turns here, receiving possession in the middle of the field, and good ball. That was a good ball through. I think that was Braham to Omar. Nearly came off, but that was Omar couldn't quite control it around the defender there. Sac Republic trying to get back on the ball here, and Locomotive doing a pretty good job of just not allowing them to enter the attacking half. Like they're really engaging like in Sac Republic's defensive half, just trying to pressure them and trying to not to give them any no easy passes, I guess, into the attacking areas. Sacramento, it seems like dropped off as well. Like they're definitely giving Locomotive a little bit more time on the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe they pressed like too much. I don't know. In the first half, good ball.
Oh, what a pass.
Yeah, Kiffy and Partita linking up well there. Get a nice view of Eighth Notch.
Hey, there's Mika.
Shout
Mika
out
on the drums.
Shout out to Mika. We got the former Presidente, Locomotive minor.
were you in the press box for this one?
I believe I was actually. I think by this time of the season, I had started sitting up there, trying to get that content, you know.
Mm-hmm. Making connections and whatnot.
Yeah, trying to, I guess. Um, but yeah, looking forward to our setup tonight. Got that. Figure we'll just kind of hang out and talk about like we'll talk to Dylan. So that'll be fun. And then I figure aside from that, we can just kind of just hang out and talk and try to keep it somewhat Locomotive focused, but I don't really know if there is such a thing right now. So we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
where the conversation takes us. But I mean, we had an earthquake today, so there's that.
Still can't believe that happened.
It's one of those things
What's
that,
going on with this world?
yeah. Well, it's one of those things that you just, I don't know. Like El Paso doesn't get them, so there's not, you just don't really think about it. It'd be like being in, I don't know. It'd be like getting hit with a hurricane in the Midwest. Like, just it doesn't happen. Like
While you've been
tornadoes,
locked
sure.
inside your house for 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. It'll certainly fuel the doomsday rumors, I'm sure, but or not rumors,
Jeez.
conspiracies, whatever you want to say. The cults. Someone made a meme of like the dyslexic. It turns out like the guy who researched the Mayan calendar was dyslexic, and instead of
Oh, and it's gonna end in
2021 instead of 2012.
yeah.
Who knows? But um, a little
Oh,
confusion, and definitely thought they grabbed a goal there.
a good shot. I like that he kept it low.
Yeah, just kept out at the near post and couldn't really tell. They had a player down injured. It couldn't really tell exactly what happened. I think it was just a collision with the post.
No, I think he got a hand to the face or something. He was grabbing his nose as he went down.
It was kind of a weird one. I think it was Hansopoulos. Oh, the El Chuco on the broadcast. Little bit of a mix-up maybe between Mishak and Logan. Nothing too heinous, luckily. It's funny because I mean, for as good as obviously Logan was, one of the best keepers in the Western Conference and I would say the league last season in terms of clean sheets kept and all that stuff, but he was unfortunate to be on the end of a few howlers as well. Do you think it's just it was just him coming to terms with being like the number one keeper and not being a backup to anyone anymore? Seb Contreras
Yeah, I mean,
having to go from way out.
yeah,
But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, he had a couple where, like you said, it was just bad mistakes. And thinking back, I can think of like three specifically, maybe. Um, and I think, if you take away those two or three, that he maybe has, I think the least goals allowed. Maybe I think was he that close in goals allowed?
Yeah, he was close in goals allowed. He was also one clean sheet, I think, off of Zach Lubin, despite
Mhm.
he played less games. So because he did have that injury problem. Kind of, I want to say during the summer, because I know he missed Monarchs at home and New Mexico away. So, but yeah, most of the, when you look at the West, I think it was us and Phoenix for least goals allowed for very different reasons. Obviously, like ours is mostly that teams didn't have as many shots against us because we possessed the ball a lot. Phoenix was teams bunkered against them and went with the not in the face strategy.
Yeah.
Which obviously leads to a lot less shots.
Oh, another dumb mistake there.
Yeah, it was a poor giveaway. Chiro just about able to get there. He wasn't really in control, it didn't look like, but he got the job done.
Mm-mm.
And first change of the game, it looks like going, or second, I guess, because Chapa came on at halftime, but Sacramento making their first change. Don't think. Oh, yep, there it is. Oh, yeah, I remember now. Horde, because Alamon was the was our Shithouse 11 nomination for this game, and he only played like half an hour.
He looks the part.
I think he tried to start a fight with somebody like towards the end as well. So,
well, that'll be exciting to look out for then.
Yeah, it got a little testy towards the end, especially once Sac was not really in the game anymore.
Is this the first one where we see Gomez and he comes in with that tackle?
Oh, it actually might. I want to say he came in first on the road, but I'm not positive.
You're right. His first game might have been on, but there was a game.
This may have been
in this part of the season where he comes in and just takes someone out after being on the field for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and we just assumed that he was a goon. Like we assumed he was just in there to get a yellow card whenever he whenever he came on.
Whenever we needed to slow the game down or something.
Yeah, and then he ended as our second top goal scorer. So. A lot of space out there for in behind Kiffy. Kiffy was kind of caught up the field, but Logan picked that one up pretty easily, so no issues there. You got to feel for Mishak as well at this point, because he's about to go away on Haiti duty not long after this, I feel like. And yeah, just devastated for the guy. Obviously, it's one thing to miss so much of your club season. That's a really good ball in behind. Almost. Oh, he thought everybody was going to the 6-yard box, and they were all waiting for the cutback to the penalty spot, basically. Oh, and they went straight down the other end. Decent finish too, but offside. Luckily.
Yeah, he was way off that time though.
Yeah, miles off. And thankfully the linesman saw it. Never a guarantee, unfortunately. They always seem to spot it when Locomotive score, though. I can't think of a goal we scored that might have been offside. All of our close ones get chalked off, I feel like.
Yeah.
It was a decent run. Well done by Mishak at the near post there. Stop that cross from getting into a dangerous area. I feel like we can't be far away from the second goal. unless we do that classic Locomotive thing where we score everything in the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Good ball out to the right. Omar did cut it back this time. Thought Partita might have a go with his left foot, but Kiffy ends up hitting it.
Oof.
Not bad. Not bad. And it was a save.
Of course, the camera cut away.
Yeah. I think it ends up as a save. Well, it took Kiffy a while to get his first goal because it was in the playoffs. And then their goal scorer is off too. So at this point, neither goal scorer is still on the field, and Sorry comes on for Skundrich. But in the irony of ironies, I guess Kiffy scores that thunderbolt in the playoffs with his right rather than his left.
Yeah.
He just needed to switch it up a little bit, I guess. Cross came in, and that was the second.
There it is.
That's the one.
I guess off a set piece, right? All the shit we were talking about.
Yeah.
They scored a goal off a set piece this game.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy too because for all the good corners that Sacramento put in, it's a Locomotive goal off of a corner.
And I think they thought this one was Chiro's because Jerome absolutely poaches it at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
that might have
definitely
still gone in if he.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like that Jerome put himself in the mix and kind of made sure. And I'm sure Chiro wouldn't be too upset about, missing out on a goal. If it had been like a thunderbolt or something, then maybe he'd have been a little bit more peeved. But yeah, Jerome. I mean, we knew it's kind of how he operated. Like those were the type of goals he was scoring, like in close and
just like have it glance off him.
Yeah.
Into the net.
Yeah, definitely glad he made sure, but Chiro getting the assist on that one. And and yeah, 2-1. And at this point, I mean, kind of in stark contrast to the end of the first half, it feels like it's Locomotive's game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has a different vibe at this point. Like I feel like we've definitely had the better of things by this stage of the game, whereas at the end of the first half, just a mere 20 minutes ago, it was not looking so good for Locomotive, and they did well. I mean, is the Chapa change? Like, is that what turned things around and helped us control the game more, or was it just a kind of better individual quality across the 11?
I mean, it could be the Chapa thing. I mean, I think that gives us a lot more. I don't think he attacks as much as Calvin does. So,
right.
I think we were able to hold them up a little more in the midfield.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it just had a little bit of an effect on how much we had the ball. Because we were kind of struggling to keep it in the first half at times and try to go quick from the throw. Jerome and Edson linking up. Edson was trying to get to the... And now... Is this what sparks the... I want to say this might be what sparks the disagreement, because Edson gets a little hand to the face and definitely plays it up, I think. But... I mean, we'd seen it work against us, or later in the season it works against us, I guess you could say. Kiffy would have been sent off for that.
Yeah. Probably right. There was probably contact, but nothing that
No,
nothing that I think would qualify for a foul there. It's
no,
completely incidental
yeah. Down in the corner, the one area of the field that's just not visible on on the
on
broadcast.
camera.
Werner not happy with the decision there. I think Kiffy might be a little lucky in that exchange because it easily could have been given as a foul against him. Um,
Hmm.
Werner definitely fouls Contreras. Also, it's just a matter of whether you think Kiffy fouled him first. Decent ball in, but Edson not able to get on the end of that one. Still like good pressure up the field, which is definitely not something that we always see in terms of Locomotive's approach. We know they can press, but I mean, often it's just kind of a quick press and then drop back to midfield. It seems, and they were keeping the full court press engaged on that one,
Yeah.
pressing the keeper. Definitely not trying to let Sacramento out at all. We get Choppa Cam, which I'm fine with in between sequences, but it's a little bit weird to get it while the ball's in play.
Yeah.
Still, I will say, I mean, we were always critical, obviously, of like the announcers on away trips last year, but I will say that I feel like our broadcast team does a pretty good job of the production of these games as well, with not not cutting away from important moments. Chiro, it looked like, caught an elbow here. Referees didn't see anything in it, I guess, but
Mm.
I think that was a little bit of a I think that was a little bit of making sure the handball wasn't noticed. I'm not saying it would have been or would have or should have been called as a handball because I think he's too close to the ball. But I think he I don't think he got caught quite as much as he's
Yeah.
insisting that he
My
did.
favorite thing is when they look at their hands as if they truly expect to see blood on their hands or something.
Yeah. But yeah, final 20 minutes. Chiro up now. Still not happy with things, but referee getting ready to give a drop ball to Sacramento, I think. And then Chiro has to come off. Long long stoppage for something that is pretty innocuous in the end. I'm not really sure why Kiesewetter is being called over as well. This is actually not a thing anymore. The contested drop ball. I think they do them
It just,
uncontested now.
it just seems so dangerous.
Yeah.
But someone's gonna get kicked right in the shin is what's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's like the old XFL kickoffs or whatever, where they would run from like one end zone and try to get the ball.
Yeah.
The first one, the guy dislocated his shoulder. Just absolute
Jesus.
disaster. But Locomotive a little lucky there that the ref played advantage, because I think he could have pulled it back for a free kick and he didn't, which
Yeah.
that would have been a pretty dangerous area out there on the left, because I'm not sure if it was Bryan or who made the tackle out there, but it seemed like they knew exactly what they were doing. Now Bryan winning the free kick, as is tradition.
It's
Easily.
weird to see Andrew Fox on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because I mean, he in some form or fashion played pretty much every game, I would say, from here, or whenever, whichever Mishak's last game was, before he went on international duty. I think we could safely say that Andrew Fox played pretty much every game the rest of the season.
And like he's not warming up, or like no designs to go into the game.
Yeah.
Like this was gonna be a game where Andrew Fox got 0 minutes.
That's pretty wild. Good ball in.
Boom. There it is.
Bam. That again, Kiesewetter scoring the type of goals that we expect. But that ball in from Edson was just on the money. Like, what a cross.
Yeah.
Get the close in view of Eighth Notch again, but like we said, it's that little first time flick that Kiesewetter loves. He did it a few times, but the ball in is what makes it. He doesn't really have to. Kiesewetter doesn't have to generate any power, because all the power is coming from the cross from Partita.
Just needs to redirect it.
Yeah. Well, and that's 3-1, and that was like, I mean, at this point in the season, I don't think Southwest University Park had seen us score 3 goals. I think this is the first time.
Yeah, we scored once against Oklahoma, twice against RGV, twice against Orange County, none against Phoenix, 1 against Reno, 2 against New Mexico, none against Madison, and yeah, this is the first 3-goal game.
Yeah.
At home or otherwise.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty wild, because well, I mean, I guess it's not, because we knew that we were kind of a low scoring team, especially by this point. But it was definitely a big treat, I feel, for the fans to get that 3rd goal and actually, see and maybe this was the match that kind of sealed the nickname for Jerome. Because it was his 3rd brace in a row, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, because he got his first one against Switchbacks, and then New Mexico, and then this was the next league game after that.
Yep. 3 braces in a row, and Partita fouled pretty hard out there on the wing. But this was, I don't know, this felt like a little bit of a or well, we knew obviously that the Jerome signing was a bit of a turning point in and of itself, but we weren't sure kind of what impact he would have. And then by this point in the season, he had 6 goals, and everybody was talking about how he could be the league MVP, or in the Golden Boot race, despite people having a head start, and obviously it didn't really go that route. I think from here it was, once the summer came, and the injury bug bit the whole team, he was not immune to that, and he missed a good chunk of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because I'll never forget, speaking of Andrew Fox, him playing up top against San Antonio at home.
Oh God.
He was playing as a striker. And he did score, so I mean, I think.
Yeah, that was the weird, like, there was so much to unpack there. Like, what, he was starting as a forward
Yep.
for us, and then he actually scored when no one else was scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a funny one as well, because that was a game where you definitely, the lineup comes out and you're like, well, that can't be right. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. But turned out Fox had played quite a bit of striker in college, so I guess it turns out that he can literally play everywhere. But yeah, watching these back as well, it's always interesting to see. Edson, as we spoke about, he's not one that's made the return with him being at Toluca, but it also might be, or seems as if it might be, a system thing for Mark, because he didn't play with any out and out wingers in that first game against Orange County, so it could be that he doesn't want guys who can kind of purely play on the wing. Just doesn't seem to be in his system as it stands right now.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he doesn't do anything for us on defense, like, at all.
No. And I think that may have been,
which I think is the big difference between him and Omar.
right. And I think that may have been the kind of the disqualifier, if you will, for them trying to get him back. Because they definitely, there's no one, especially, in this, I think in the way today's game is played, there's really not a lot of room in really any team for carrying kind of luxury players who aren't going to do the hard work defensively, because you see, even the best teams in the world have forwards who are willing to track back. I mean, not your Ronaldos or Messis, but
they've been doing it for too long now, though. I mean, you can't get rid of them now.
No. And so but I think there's definitely an element of that where Mark is going to ask that of pretty much everybody. And so maybe Edson not the fit, although you can see, and he showed, at different times last season, obviously his ability and his quality, because he definitely has plenty of it. Technically a very good player, very fast as well. Cannon of a left foot when the time calls for it, but I guess just not the style of player. And it is Josue Aron Gomez coming on for Edson. So one Liga MX loanee for the other.
Yeah.
And I think we are about to, maybe it was Gomez that kicked off the disagreement with Aliman.
Can't wait.
Which I'm fine with that. Gomez, it's hilarious. I know. I think it's funny that we thought this way about him, because he's a soft-spoken guy, really humble, very very much like keeps to himself. But you can tell on the field he's definitely a very different a different prospect in terms of his energy and his he doesn't shy away from a confrontation on the
No.
field. But it's so funny when you speak to him in person, you wouldn't expect it at all. And here's the disagreement with Aleman shoving match. Richie Ryan straight over. You knew that he'd be the first one to react.
Yeah. And I don't have the audio, so I can't hear what happened, but it sounds like there was confusion over whether it was a dead ball or not.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like Kiffy thought it was. It looked like Kiffy thought it was a free kick because, and then Aleman just kind of shoves him, and Kiffy against his natural impulses held off shoving back. I'm not sure. No cards issued, it doesn't seem.
Mm-mm.
Which feels appropriate for USL refs at Southwest University Park.
I think what would have been more appropriate if Kiffy would have gotten the straight red there.
Yeah, for being shoved. Well done to kind of weasel out of trouble there. But Sacramento, I mean, it has to be said, Locomotive, and maybe it was something. Wow,
Oof.
I think it was actually a clearance by a Sacramento player in front of goal. Logan not pleased with that chance coming through,
giving him the business.
But I think the defending is actually provided by, because Werner's ball in is really good, and I think
what the hell?
Yeah, I think it's Bonomo.
Bonomo, yeah,
who actually kind of clears the ball for Locomotive. So
he just did not have the soft touch that he thought he did there, I guess.
Yeah, he tried to take it down, and it just bounced off the top of his boot there, and
all the way out of the box.
Yeah, I mean the shot still came in, but like, yeah, it definitely wasn't what he envisioned, I'm sure. That was a dangerous moment for Sacramento as well. And I think I was just about getting ready to say that I think Sac were neutralized pretty well throughout the second half. Like they didn't create really anything. Right at the beginning of the second half, they had that sequence where they had a corner and it didn't really lead to anything, and then just then they had that chance. But in between about 47 and 82, they really did. They were pretty well kept out of the game by Locomotive, it seemed.
Yeah, not a thing going on for them.
So almost a mirror image of the first half, where for large swaths of the first half, Locomotive kind of held at bay by Sacramento. In the second half, is pretty much the opposite, and Daniel Navarro getting the run out. Just Mishak had the I think it was more of a precaution than anything, which is unfortunate given the fact that he obviously did suffer that big injury like 2 minutes into the Gold Cup. But yeah, Daniel Navarro getting 5 minutes to stretch the legs a little bit out there.
Did we hear anything about him? Is he playing in League One? Is that a
I'm
thing?
not sure if Chattanooga maybe signed him permanently or what. Let me see. Daniel Navarro soccer. Oh, he is actually playing for Oakland Roots in NISA.
Okay.
So pretty cool club in terms of like they have pretty decent attendance, and Ooh, that shot came in from Contreras, I believe, with the left foot. But yeah, so technically third division, but they're struggling a little bit. It seems to kind of stabilize that league, I think.
Yeah.
The
That's such a cool crest. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the
yeah, it's pretty legit. That's I really their jerseys for this year. I'm not a huge fan of. They go like pretty plain with the they go like a black kit with the with like white accents, and then they have some of that mosaic, like the multicolored mosaic in like the numbers and stuff. So it's pretty cool. But this year they went a little too I don't know what it is about it, but it reminds me of like a college football jersey from like 2006. Like create a team NCAA football '06, like like that's kind of the vibe it gives me. So I don't love the jersey this year, but yeah, the crest is great. I think it's one of the best in US soccer, honestly. Just a cool idea, but and they definitely went all in on the Oakland thing. Is that might be the go? Is that go or was that Chapa?
Was that Gomez?
I think it might have been Chapa.
No, it's Chapa.
Yeah, Chapa going in full blooded.
Oh man.
That honestly, if he played for a different team, he'd have been in the shithouse 11 for that.
Yeah, that was dirty.
Yeah. But yeah, what a view down the bench. Fox being on it, Gebhardt obviously, which like actually we brought up Gebhardt earlier, but shout out to him. He is playing for Charlotte Independence and in the Eastern Conference and scored a goal in the opening week of the season. So he loves an early season goal.
Yeah.
Club's first goal of the season, because it was actually their first goal. So does enjoy grabbing the the inaugural goal of the season, I guess. Omar losing the ball and then just bodying and not happy about the decision.
Oh man, he took that guy out.
Yeah. He looked like he was about to take the ref out. Like Sacramento getting a late opportunity here. It's interesting to see Mishak. I don't know if he's going to the locker room for treatment, but it looks like he's just kind of organizing the defense from the sidelines. That header flicked on, and again it was
Richie's up in the ref's face again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they wanted a foul called on the I don't know if a couple Locomotive players ended up on the deck, it seemed like. And they may have just wanted, and now a yellow for
Richie?
I can't tell if it was Richie or Omar for dissent. It's almost certainly a Locomotive player for calling the ref's mom a hoe or something.
5 minutes of extra time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's a lot. It's funny because they're really, I mean, the Mishak injury and the goals.
And the Chiro.
Oh, yeah. I guess
on the floor for a while.
True. Yeah, so maybe more warranted. It's one of those things where I think the immediate reaction when you have the lead is, why do we have so much stoppage time? And then the immediate reaction when you're trailing is, why is there so little stoppage time?
It's like, why aren't there 10 extra minutes?
Yeah. I always remember it, like putting it in Liverpool terms, but I always remember Liverpool were playing Norwich in Klopp's first season.
Oh.
That was Gomez.
Gomez took
fair
him out
tackle,
again.
I guess. And now will he pull that back? Should have pulled it back for a free kick, I feel. Not sure where the advantage came from. A lot of sliding around. I think he was coming from
Oh my
offside.
God.
I think he might have been offside. And Rebillon got a kick in there, I think, from Bonomo. The interesting thing, too, or maybe he got his hand stepped on. Interesting thing about this one, too.
Such a normal occurrence.
Yeah.
Seeing Rebillon on the floor.
Yeah. I think he was our most fouled player last season. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, there was a game. Liverpool played Norwich in Klopp's first season, and it was a crazy back and forth. Like Norwich had led 3-1 at one point, and then it was Liverpool had pulled it back to 4-3. And they were winning, and stoppage time got announced. It was like 5 added minutes, and Klopp was going absolutely nuts about it, like in the fourth official's face, the whole nine. And then Norwich equalized in like the second minute of added time. And Liverpool went on to score a fifth in like the last minute of added time and won the game. And so they joked about it afterwards, like, yeah, we actually needed all 5. So he like apologized for battering the officials about adding so much time on, because if they had only added 2 minutes on, then it would have ended tied. So
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's every, you're mad about how much added time there is until you're not, I guess. So that's it's just the plight of officials are never gonna. I mean, they actually are never accurate about it. So, because I think it was 538 or something like that did a study during the last World Cup, where they had a guy watch a game with a stopwatch, and just every time play was stopped, he started the stopwatch, and he kept, how much added time should have been added versus how much actually was. And I mean, there were games where there should have been, 20 minutes of stoppage time.
Jesus.
Like if they went, completely by the book, and it's just not, for the most part, like most matches, the ball's out of play for the ball is in play for about 68 actual minutes, on average. So in theory, most games should have like in excess of like 10 added minutes per half. So
yeah. And does that include like when the ball goes out for a throw in or a corner or anything like that?
Yeah, that's like literally every single stoppage. So like, yeah, anytime the ball is out of play is technically when it's supposed to, you're supposed to engage. But no one's here for like actually playing, oh, that was a good chance right at the end of the game. Oh, and then Omar, I think it deflected wide. Unlucky for Omar, because that was a decent shot back in, and unlucky too because that cutback, the dribble from Contreras,
Jerome was wide open. He stopped running.
Yeah, and it just came off the knee of the defender there, it looked like. And then Locomotive happy to put it down in the corner. They're already getting Lowry cam ready for when the final whistle goes. Not long now. I think pretty much he's going to take this kick, and it's going to be all over. Yeah, went long. Still playing. But yeah, I'd say one of the standout things to me about this game was the fact that Cam Iwasa was, I don't want to say a non-factor, because he certainly, he obviously draws attention from Locomotive, but he definitely is not a. Oh, and it's the second involvement right at the final whistle with Aleman, trying to get into it again. And
they did take Gomez down. Gomez down kind of late right there.
Yeah, and that's full time. Well, it was Kiesevetter's third brace in a row, a 3-1 win for Locomotive, and pretty professionally done. It, as we talked about, little lucky to escape the first half with only conceding the one. But once they got on top in the second, Locomotive definitely good value for the 3-1 win.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a well-deserved one. Like you said, the second half was all Locomotive really, get except for, maybe two or three good chances from Sacramento.
Yeah, it was definitely the type of game that that Lowry would have liked to play in terms of having most of the ball, especially second half, and getting the goals. When they did, I guess pretty much on the hour mark, that halfway point of the second half just really swings the pendulum, I guess, in Locomotive's favor, and just makes it so unlikely for Sacramento to come back. But hindsight being 2020, I mean, we know that Jerome is obviously probably the man of the match for this one, grabbing 2 goals. But who kind of stood out to you after watching this one back, that not necessarily in goals, but just in what they provide? Is there anyone that stood out to you watching this one back?
I mean, I think Omar had a really good game. As usual, he was trouble for their defenders. He had a couple of pretty good shot opportunities. And if you can kind of get into the opponent's head as he is able to do so often, I always think that's a valuable tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I definitely want to give some props to Edson Partida, because he does get the one assist, but in an attacking sense, he definitely provided that threat out wide, similar to Omar. Getting those wide attackers involved is important, and in this one, those were the guys who were providing, I guess, most of the danger. So I think Seb Contreras played well too. I know that's like an old school Seriously Loco take, but it's I really do. When you watch him play, especially there at the end, a couple of runs that just kind of dicing up Sacramento and able to create opportunities for other players. So it reminded me why we rated him so highly. It kind of got lost in the shuffle at the end of the season because Velasquez came in and he did that job as well. But you can definitely see what Seb offers.
Yeah, and it will always be unfortunate,
Yeah.
his tenure with Locomotive, but hopefully when play starts up again, he has a good season in Omaha, and who knows, he might end up back here. I think Mark does really like him, but
Yeah.
When you don't produce, you've got to go.
Yeah, and I mean, Mark has shown that he's pretty ruthless in that sense. So we'll I hope you guys have enjoyed this little stroll down memory lane. It's a lot of fun watching these games back. Obviously, we're without new games to watch, but we'll hopefully be back with Locomotive football soon. For those watching, you do get a little sneak peek into the fact that we're going to be doing an interview with Dylan Mares tonight. So we're going to primarily talk about, obviously we don't have much of this season to talk about, but we have his history to talk about and kind of his journey through the lower leagues of American soccer and trying to find your way as a professional. And then, we'll also talk about some, hopefully some lighthearted topics and how he's dealing with isolation. But we'll get his takes on all that. And, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll speak to you, literally speak at you through the new episode when it gets uploaded. So keep an eye out for it. And until next time, guys, stay loco.